Hey, what's up? Got a chance to do a little work to the truck today. So, sorry. So I need to work on the fuel system so I can get this thing running. And the reason that I want to get it running so bad, not just because I'm excited to hear it or, get it tuned or tune it, but being outside here, it's getting a whole shit ton of condensation on the outside. If it's getting it on the outside, it could be getting it on the inside as well. So I don't want condensation to build up in there. I did oil everything down immensely. So, but I don't want that to turn milky in any way. So, and I just got my front wheels and tires. I got the cheap jegs, guys, but hey, I gotta go cheap somewhere. And they look so good, and the price is so good, but they are cheap. I wish I could afford to put some welds on here, but that's like $800 for each front and $2,500 for the rears. I'll get there one day, just not right now. All right, so the task at hand. What I'm doing is, all right, so I have the, let's get down here. There's my fuel pump, the Magna Pump 500, or Magna Fuel 500. There we go. I did call them, and in the direction says you can mount it any which way you want. I do have a shut-off valve up there. There's the return. So what I'm doing now is for the return. The return is an 8AN, and your return, especially on a pump like this, you don't want just fed into here and splashing down there. It will fizz up the fuel and put so much air in it that it might mess you up big time. And if you're delivering fizzy fuel to the engine, you might get a little leaned out there. So what I did was I ordered this guy here. This is a 8AN, has a nut right here and 2 washers. So I drill a hole, set it in there wherever I want it, wherever I drill the hole, and then put the nut on the bottom of it. I did unbolt the gas cap thing. It is, lucky for me, just like this, no nuts on the bottom. It's all, the bottom is one piece, so that's why I say lucky me. It's easy to do by myself, and I can put it back together by myself. I can do this whole project by myself, which is what I'm doing. So anytime you have a return, you want to do this. You want to put a fitting in there, unless you have one of the good fuel tanks that has one where you can screw a line onto it. So I'm just going to take this line and cut it maybe down here, straighten it out a bit, or I don't know, maybe I'll measure it and see how I want it to go. And that's already 8AN. I'll just screw that on and it's going to go in the tank. That way it will return the fuel down into the fuel instead of onto it, creating a bunch of air bubbles. You want to do that anytime you have a return, so you don't, in fact, lean out your engine running that stuff back up. And especially when your tank gets low, it's going to do it real bad. The lower your fuel level gets, the worse it's going to be. I'd figure on a pump like what I've got, if I'm down to maybe a 1/8 or 1/4 of a tank, that whole, every bit of it in there is going to be just air bubbles. So I'm doing this. It's not going to be hard. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take something, maybe a paint can cap or something, and hold it right under where I'm going to be drilling through. I'm going to press it up against the top here and try to catch every single sliver of anything that comes in. So I'm going to have it, let me find one real quick. I may have to go up to the shop. Here's one. Alright, so if I take this and let's just say this is the top under there. I'm going to hold it firmly like that. There's where I'm going to make my hole. So I'm going to have it just like that, and I'm going to drill the hole. Hopefully everything will get into that and I won't have anything to clean up inside. That's really why I've been putting this off, because it's got foam in there. And if you get, let's see here, you can see that. Yeah. If you get any aluminum shavings in there, in that foam, you're not getting it back out. You're not. Looks like I need a little dirt in there or something. Scratched up in there. So you get a bunch of aluminum shavings in there, you're not getting them out. You're gonna have to take that foam out, either replace it or dig them out one by one. I don't know. But I just don't want to go through all that. So this is what I came up with. I'm gonna go just like this and hold it in place and drill my hole, and then get that out of there just like that and dump it. Like, I'm gonna keep it in place until I am done with my hole. So I'm having a friend come over. He can hand me stuff, do whatever. Maybe he can hold it, I don't know. But I do not want anything getting in there. Then I have to run my fuel lines. I've got some 10 AN braided line to run up there. Then I need to go to Summit and get my fuel block. I'm going to put a fuel block here. I'm going to have 3 regulators on it. 2 for the nitrous, 1 for the carburetor. So I'm going to have the carburetor one will come out. I don't know if I want to run 2 hoses to the carburetor or put a you know, on there. So I've got one, I've got a black one. I was going to put it on the Nova, but I just might put it on here. I don't know yet. And I've got 2 Nitrous Express regulators. So I'm going to make one of them. I'm going to have a line coming out one side and a line coming out the other side. They're going to go right here to the fuel solenoids. Then the second Nitrous Express solenoid, it's going to feed the button kit. So I'm going to have like a little 150 shot on a button, just like I do in the Nova, aside from the kit on a controller. I've got the nitrous solenoid. I ordered a fuel solenoid. I didn't have an extra one. I've got the purge solenoids sitting in place where I think I want them. They're just kind of sitting there. So I'm going to get that hooked up after all the fuel stuff is done, but not yet. Okay, man, anybody have problems with their GoPro? I mean, I don't have the best one out there, but it freezes on me all the time. Pisses me off, really. I don't really have time to do this filming thing anyways. I'm filming this stuff myself. And then when this thing freezes up, I'm like, screw it. I mean, you just don't know how many videos I've just said screw it on because the GoPro screwed up or my phone screwed up, something screwed up, and I just said screw it. I'd probably have twice as many videos on YouTube. Anyways, I did what I said I was going to do. Use this paint can top, and that's how much it caught. Caught a good bit. Nothing got by it. So I drilled a pilot hole in there first, just with a real tiny small bit with this in there. That way I know that I got this in the exact right spot for the big bit that was going in, and it worked out perfect. So that hole is in. right here. So now my fitting will go right in. So I'm going to set that up. But I wanted to talk about something first. The last video, I talked about the struggles that I had with the motor and gave you a part number for the motor mounts to use. Well, in the directions there, it will tell you to cut the motor mount, and you do need to do that. I didn't do that at first, and it raises the motor up about 1 inch and up. You really want it down as far as you can get it. So I think 9926 was the part number. Let's see, it's in the trash can. I have filled up the trash can with boxes. Yeah, 9926. Come on, turn on. Okay, so that's the S10 V8 swap for the newer models. And like I said in the last video, it only says it goes up to 2000, but once you get the box, inside the box it says good to 2004. So it's supposed to cover all the S10s, and it does. You just need to cut it where it says to. These I didn't cut because it told me to. These I cut when I was first trying to put the motor in with my other motor mounts. So I kind of figured that out on my own, and then it didn't work with the stock bottom, the frame side. So I went and bought some new ones and ended up using my older top side and the new bottom side. So I still have a fresh set of top side. I'll save them for, you know, if I bend these or something happens. Hopefully none of that happens. But anyways, I wanted to show that you do need to cut those so you can get your motor down a little bit. It just won't work out with it up that high, your transmission, unless you have cut out or beat the holy ever-loving shit out of your firewall. It just won't fit. I cut mine out a little bit, and I did that just to get the stock transmission out. But I put a piece of metal over it to cover it and screwed it in. And I still had to beat the crap out of it. So, you need to get the motor back as far as you can. Well, first down as far as you can, and then back as far as you can. So on these newer model trucks, the firewall on the driver's side sticks out a whole lot more than it does on the passenger side. Like a couple of inches, I think, or 1.5 inches, something like that. So over here, and if I would have known that that was going to be an issue, if I would have realized that was going to be an issue, I would have done something about it. So what I would have done, and the only reason I'm not doing it now is because the interior's done. And I'm not taking all that shit back apart. So this I took off. I was having steering issues, which on the mock-up motor I didn't have those problems because all I had was a head on there, and other things that weren't in play like they are with this motor. So the mock-up motor didn't do a whole lot for me. So anyways, I would cut this stuff out from, let's see here. This is the stock hole for the steering. That hole was there. I didn't cut that out. I would cut from the edge of this hole over to where it starts slanting in. You guys that have these, let's see if you can see it where it starts slanting in. Go around the distributor. I would cut it out from the edge of this hole over to this little stamped box. I'd leave the cable in place, leave that cable hole, or you can cut that out too and just either move it or put in a new one. I'm probably gonna have to put in a new one because this stock one is way too long. I thought I was gonna be able to use it, but this engine is just right here, right up on this firewall. So you can see where I scratched the firewall right here. So I would cut that out, because that's really this motor could go back another inch if it wasn't for that. And I mean, I could possibly just pull the motor back out, beat that in, or cut it, put a piece over it, but I'm just not going to. It's just not I mean, it is an issue, but, and dang it, I should be able to stick a nickel in there. Ah, man, it slid back on me. Or it's, oh, okay, that's right. The transmission needs to go up a little bit, which will give me just a hair of a gap back there. But I wanted to show you guys what you need to look out for, what you're going to be dealing with, because I didn't know any of this. And you can look online. I mean, I don't spend a whole lot of time online, so, but I do try to look up stuff that I think I need to look up. And I didn't see anything about using these motor mounts, you know, so I thought it was just cut and dry. Hey, put these motor mounts on, you won't have an issue. Well, you will. So use those, cut it where it tells you to cut it. That'll lower your motor, and they're adjustable. You can slide them forward and back. See the slots? Let's see if you can see them. I don't know if you can see them, but there's slots for each bolt hole. So you can slide the motor forward and backwards. And I couldn't go all the way back with it because of that other side. If it wasn't for that other side, I could go all the way back and I'd be a whole lot happier. I'd have less to deal with. But anyways, so plugs are in, plug wires are on, and we actually have starter. Listen, we can turn the motor over, huh? Check this out, button up here, and yeah, that right there just means we are one step closer to hearing this thing fire off, which, if I can quit blabbing and get to work, it might happen this weekend. So in lieu of that, I'm going to get back to work so that hopefully I can bring you a first crank up video sometime this weekend. All right. Where's my phone?